Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with a flip through for you of my latest journal. This is Adventures with Howl's Moving Castle. So this one is a tome and it is for Studio Ghibli fans, I think. I'm a huge fan of Studio Ghibli and especially the Howl's Moving Castle film. It's one of my favorites of the series, I think, of the Ghibli films. So this book, it's been kind of culmination. I've been working on it for quite a while, collecting sort of things for it. And what I wanted to do was, it had been inspired originally because I got two canvases of art from the film, like from these were some of the original concept photos or concept drawings for the film, as well as I got at an estate auction like a book that was full of the stills from the movie. So I wanted to put this all together into a journal, but I wanted to kind of build on the concept so that I wasn't sort of just like rehashing the film. I wanted to kind of put my own style on it, so hopefully I've done that. So I'm calling this Adventures with Howl's Moving Castle because you're going to get a little bit of a view of sort of a bird's eye view of what it would be like to travel around in Howl's Moving Castle. I've designed some digitals that are just for this book about kind of like the fantastical land that this kind of a vehicle would be able to travel to, and I've done some concept art and kind of fan art of the characters of the inside and the outside of the castle, and also of different lands that they could travel to. I've used some eclectic book pages that I feel like they fit with either the art style or the theme of the book, and I'll try to explain those as I go through. I've done a few kind of, you know, symbolic kind of things that I always tend to put in my books. So let's get started. I'll get off my ramble here. So the cover, this is a sealed canvas, and it has these fun metal corners here, and there's eyelets for the tie. This is a nice long vintage seam binding. I've used this fabric on the edge, and I've made the binding visible. I just felt like the green was really nice on this sort of taupey rain looking fabric. This is my hand dyed paper, and we have a little bit of calcifer here on the back. So you will see all of these little bits and bobs. So as we go through, you'll see these are like the laundry line that are hanging here. It sort of harkens back to that. I've stitched them all together, and they hang like little laundry lines on the edges of some pages. So this book is huge. It is 7 signatures. I haven't counted the pages or done the measurements yet, but I can probably do the measurement really quick for you, and then I'll put the page number in the Etsy listing. So it is 10 1/4 tall by 7 wide, and when it's open, it's about 4 inches that it opens. It is a little bit of a gator mouth, but I think it could actually grow. It's not overly gator mouth. So when we get inside, we see this. This is another canvas pocket, another piece of the concept art from the film. And then we have this fan art of Howl and Sophie. And this is a large journal card. And the back, the end papers are kind of like a burlap paper, not fabric. And then we have this kind of fantastical world type tree. So I've done a bunch of digital design that sort of harkens to this fantastical land. So you'll see a lot of that. I've also used my stamping technique or my inking technique to create some fun color on the back sides of the digital pages. And this is my hand-dyed paper. You will see hand-dyed papers in shades of green, yellow, blue, purple throughout this book. And then there's one of those laundry lines. Then this is some of my hand-dyed paper. I made this in a recent Tuesday 10, added these flowers here. And then I did some different depictions of Turnip Head from the film. He's like this scarecrow kind of character, Turnip Head. This is a journal card that I designed, sort of a view from one of the rooms in the castle. This is a book page that I felt like depicted a darker kind of land, maybe somewhere outside where like the Witch of the Waste has been. Another depiction of Turnip Head on some coffee dyed paper. And this is the little breakfast that Calcifer and Sophie make the one morning when they're all having breakfast together. Some purple dyed paper. I have included a few household items throughout this journal, mostly plates, because I think about the scene of Sophie complaining about how dirty the castle is and that everyone is lazy and she has to do all of the cleaning. This is another depiction of the castle. This little journal card just tucks into this little belly band, and we have kind of like a space-like scene back here. This is a children's book page. And then this little, lots of rainbow and fun castle depictions. And I also used several pages of this beautiful Japanese book that has all of these really fine landscape depictions. So I imagined Howl's moving castle, you know, flying over, you know, the world, looking down on people as they traveled around. Hand-dyed paper. Tuck spot with another depiction of the castle flying over another castle. You'll see a lot of pages of this children's book. It was called, I forget, something relating to a tower, the Tower of One or something. It has all of these amazing landscapes in it, and so I use that. This is from a meadow book, and it's just sort of a calm sky that I think the color scheme goes nicely. Some hand-dyed paper. And then this is one of the pages from the book of stills of the film. And I've done some inking back there, and I've designed this little pocket for this to tuck into. You'll see that the pages are all different sizes and have been laid out in sort of a scatter of different heights. This is a digital I created of like a boat version of the castle. Dyed papers. This is a children's book that made me think about the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro, and so I just had to put it in here because it feels like it just belongs. It's another one of those fantasy world type things. On the other side of that page of the boat castle. Dyed papers. You'll also see lots of like little buildings and things. This one was cut from the cover of a coloring book about different cities. And then we have this fun sky back here. And this is a page from the coloring book. I always like to include this kind of content. It's a journal card because you can write on the back and you can color on the front. And then this is a pocket that I made from a tree book. There's lots of landscape in the film. This is another of those Japanese illustrations. It's a journal card. And then this is also a tall tuck spot that has this journal card inside of this tower. And then more of my hand-dyed paper. This is a children's book page of a bit of a darker scene with a moon. Also more of the children's book page of the landscape, and a pocket here with another depiction of the castle. Purple hand-dyed paper, some coffee-dyed paper. This is from a children's book that's called, I believe, The Light, and it has these really amazing, like, worldly kind of scenes in it, this fantasy type scene, and I like some of the verses, so I left them in the book. At last he dried his eyes. He set off to search for another picture of flowers. After many weeks, he came to the edge of the city where the dust heaps were. I felt like that could be a mission that Howl could be on. A pocket here from a coloring book, and this tag. Some hand-dyed paper and inked paper. Digitals that I created just for this book. Lots of colorful, fantastical landscapes. I tried to take what was in the film and kick it up a notch to make it even more fantastical. This is some of my sunburst dyed paper, another beautiful children's book page. I love this particular image, reminds me sort of the castle, but it's like a balloon made of like all these patchworks of like different pieces of fabric, and it has this little house here attached and another little house with a little balloon. And then I made this piece of stationery from another children's book that's about sort of the alphabet, and I just loved this little world of these little houses and these big mushrooms. And that just slips on the side here with a rusty paper clip. And we have another of the clothing lines on my cabbage dyed paper. These are stapled on because I wanted the sections to be able to hang off, so I didn't want to glue it down sort of solidly. This is a digital that I designed for the book of this fantastical garden. There's a lot of beautiful landscapes in the film. And then I completely forget the little boy's name from the film. That's the one thing I should have looked up before I started the video, but here he is voraciously eating his breakfast. And then we have another depiction of Turnip Head and more of those household items, these bottles. And this is from another beautiful children's book, and I felt like that could be a depiction of Sophie. And then this is like a double belly band, and it's from a children's book, but I've added a little cutout of Turnip Head there. And I've added this journal card here from a coloring book, and it is of some lovely Asian buildings. And then some hand-dyed paper and inked paper. Another digital of a fantastical garden that I did. That's the other side of it. And we have a little stamp of Howl and Sophie. And then this book page is of this, there's this several pages of this book in here called Imagine the Night, I believe. And it's just this blue landscape, and there's lots of lovely verses. Imagine a night when you might find that gravity doesn't work quite as you expected. Imagine a night when candlelight rises on butterfly wings to greet the lonely stars. More dyed and inked pages, a digital that I designed. The other side of that other digital, inking. So this page is a pocket that's created from one of the stills from the movie of, we have Howl here in the bed and Sophie looking over him. And then this is a children's book page. So we have like a tornado and a dark scene in the back. So this has a bit of a funny long story. So first of all, it's made on beautiful handmade paper that I got at a recent printing fair that I went to. This is a local maker, and it's got sparkles in it. It's really fun. So I originally, when I was designing the concept for this book, I was like, I'm going to individually create and build every one of the pieces of Howl's Moving Castle. And then I had a reality check and went, no, we're not going to do that. So I did start, though. That's how far I got. That's where this idea came from, because it was these little laundry lines were part of what I was going to do on the cover. And then I realized like this would take me epic amounts of time, and I would absolutely never be able to part with the book if like I had done that. It just would have been too much. So I am known to be a little extra sometimes. So this is some hand-dyed sunburst paper. Then we have a pocket. I designed this pocket image, and in here we have another still from the movie, and some of the inking back here. And then more of my digital and the children's book page with that fun balloon again. Love it so much. It's like another kind of take on Howl's Moving Castle, but it's all thatched together. And some, just a flip up of some dyed paper. And another pocket that I designed on a children's book page, and another still from the movie. And these movie still pages, I should mention, they're all just on this like high quality, lovely paper with blank backing. So they're all journal cards. And then this is cabbage dyed paper. This is from another children's book. And again, I felt like it was sort of a fantastical depiction of Sophie. And then we have some dyed paper that kind of flips out here, and some more dyed paper. And then we have Calcifer here riding on this machine in the sky. And that's on a digital that I created. This is a little bit of fan art that I did of Howl. And then some of the children's book page, a pocket on one of these kind of meadow scenes, and another still from the book. And more dyed papers, one of my digitals, more inking and dyeing, another of my digitals, This is another of my digitals, just creating more kind of fantastical scenes and adventures for Howl to have gone on. Some dyed papers, a pocket that I designed on a children's book page, and another still from the movie. And then imagine a night when a new partner joins the stately dance of moon around earth and earth around sun. Imagine a night when you take just one last ride beneath you. The hill grows steep and your wheels grow wings. More of my digital and inking, and my digital again, dyeing and inking, another of my digitals. And we've added the dog that belonged to the Witch of the Waste. No, it wasn't her dog. It was the dog that was with Sophie that actually belonged to, I think, the Queen. I can't remember. My brain. Anyways, it's the dog. And there's Calcifer on these logs here. He's out in a little boat. And more of that meadow. And we have a little pocket I designed on an inked page. And we have Howl's Moving Castle. And then another digital that I designed of another kind of flying house type creation. And then this is from a children's book page. I felt like this was a really good depiction of like when the Queen gets angry, like what's inside of her. There's another depiction of this image later on in the book too. And then this is a tip out. These are all my dyed papers, purple and cabbage dyed. Just another fun book page. And then one of those fun towers. Another digital that I designed. This is a little pocket from the coloring book page with the building. And then this is kind of like a, you know, fantasy steampunky feeling kind of journal card that I designed. And then we have a pocket up here of the castle on this children's book page. And then another of those Japanese illustration pages of, you know, another scene that the castle might be flying over. And more of the children's book page of more interesting landscapes. And we have on this actually, then we have this castle tuck spot here. And these are both stills from the film. So we have Sophie and Calcifer and Howl and Sophie. And they're all journal cards as mentioned. And then more of the laundry line here. And another of my digitals and some inking. This is a pocket here that's been made from one of the book stills, and there's another still from the movie, the book that has the movie stills. This is dyed paper, and I've again added another domestic kind of thing of these fun old bottles. And this is a digital that I designed of another kind of fantastical flying ship. Another of my digitals, and then Howl and Sophie here on yellow dyed paper. This is a beautiful book page. Just more of that kind of fantasy world. Then on this side, so I was thinking about Sophie, you know, trying to clean this castle, and there's this one part in the film where she's getting really frustrated and things are breaking and falling everywhere, and it's just a total mess. And it made me think of the term like a bull in a china shop, like, you know, when someone enters a room and things are falling and breaking. So this is another depiction that I did of Turnip Head, and then I added this little journal card of this little china plate. This tips out, and then I used this, which is a piece of ephemera I made for a Defemember challenge actually, and I thought of this as the bull, so the bull and the china shop. And this is a really fun piece of ephemera. There's a lot of color and interest in it. The back is dyed with black walnut, and it's a leaf print. So it's a fun piece of ephemera that I have been hoarding. As I look at it, I'm like, oh no, you're leaving me. And then cabbage dyed paper, more of my digital of that majestic feeling garden, more inking and dyeing. And then we have the ship here. I've added to this scene from a children's book page, and then I designed this pocket, and inside we have some of the Japanese market image and this little coloring book page town. Imagine a night when snow-white sheets grow crisp and cold and someone whispers, "Follow me." Imagine a night when you can't sleep and so you jump high enough to soar over a quilt of fields and forests. So if you think about that imagery, right, a quilt of fields and forests, you can think of those, you know, that thatching, that building up patchwork of like something that has a whole lot of little parts making up a larger part, a larger image. So it just had a lot of like symbolism to me. More of my digital. And then we have the poor Witch of the Waste in her old person form, and she's smoking this cigar, and I just drew some pencil smoke lines coming up the cabbage dyed paper. More of the children's book page, just these fantastical scenes that Howl could be flying over. More of my dyed paper, and another depiction of Turnip Head. And this is an AI fan art of Howl and Sophie. And another of my digitals that I designed. Dyed papers and inked papers, another of my digitals. Some more of my Howl inspired fan art on cabbage dyed paper. This is a little castle here, and inside we have this journal card that I designed. This is kind of when, like, you know, things are getting like, you know, darker, and there's all these machines in the sky, like maybe the same kind of world as you see in like Castle, is it Castle in the Sky with those big bugs? And then we have another depiction of like a castle, like Howl's Moving Castle, and it's in a pocket here of Sophie climbing this hill. This is one of the film stills. And more dyeing and inking. This is a little tuck spot on my digital. These are both my digitals, and this is one of my digitals that I designed. That's a journal card, and it just tucks into this little house here. More of my inking, some fun construction paper, another of the laundry lines. And then this page I have been holding on to for this project because I feel like it fit the theme. It's a Stamperia page from, I think it's one of their steampunk collection, like Lady Vagabond maybe. And it's just another like flying house. And a pocket that I designed, and this journal card is actually from a coloring book. It says, "We cannot direct the winds, but we can adjust the sails." Some yellow dyed paper, and this is a little flip out of just these beautiful mushrooms and snails. Another fantastical kind of world. Dyed paper, a fabric pocket that matches the spine on this naturey kind of landscape. And this is from a children's book, and it's sort of reminiscent of, again, Sophie cleaning the house. Cabbage dyed paper, this little tuck spot on one of my digitals. This is another of my digitals that I designed for this book. More of my dyed papers. I designed this pocket. This is from a children's book, and it's a whole field of sunflowers that are actually people. And then we have Turnip Head and Sophie here on this film still. And then this is from a children's illustrated book of like a bedroom window and a desk and a chair. And inside is a coloring book page. On this side we have this, and on this side we have this scarecrow, and I felt like it fit in with Turnip Head because he's like a scarecrow. Some of my purple dyed paper, my inked paper. This is one of my digitals of another kind of fantastic flying machine. More inking and dyeing. This is a kind of clustered pocket where I added some sort of like domestic type images and more of the illustration of the bedroom. And then there's like a purple kind of doorway in the background. And then this is a tag that I made from the Japanese illustration book of the landscapes. Imagine a night when, listen, you can hear a farmer play his fields to sleep, a lullaby for leaf and stem and dreaming root. More dyed and inked papers, my digital, and then kind of a piece that I felt, this came from a book called Past Objects, and it's about this person who does a lot of archaeological digs and finds all these weird objects and tries to identify them. This reminded me though of like a piece of Howl's Moving Castle, like all of those, you know, parts that are coming out from all different, you know, places on the castle. This is a digital that I designed for the kit, and it's cabbage dyed paper. It's very grungy, goes along with this rusty part. See, very grungy. And then we have here another landscape. And then this is kind of like a double tuck sort of pocket. So we have another depiction of Turnip Head and a little journal card. And then this is like a double belly band. So you can see the trees back there. And you pull this out, and this is a journal card that I designed for this book. And another of my dyed pages, a little circle tuck spot here, and more of that Japanese illustration. And the Stamperia paper again. And this is another of those past objects. And this is a little journal card. More of my dyed paper and some marbled pink paper and my digitals. Inking and dyeing, and we have Howl here, and this background from a children's book page, and this is a still from the book. Howl and Sophie. And this beautiful page from the Tower book. And then we have a cabbage dye page with another of the laundry lines. Another of my digitals, lots of inking, and another pocket that I designed, and another still from the film. I love how in the film, like the castle can look so different. That's why I designed so many different like castles and flying ship kind of things, because it's just a flexible, fun concept. So more of my dyed paper. This is a children's book that has this fantastic library. So I added the dog here with a little calcifer. It's a little illustration. And then this is Howl and Sophie. It's a pocket. And see, this is a beautiful rainy day book page. And we have another film still of the castle. Then on this side we have more of that library. And I've just added Sophie there as an onlooker in the library. And some more dyed paper, my digital, more inking, and then we have Howl down here, and Howl and Sophie, and they're flying over this landscape. This is another still from the movie, and Howl and Sophie here in this meadow, and more of my inking, another fantastic flying machine. This is a boiled book page that I've stitched this image of the whole cast in. This was a piece of paper that came with the book that I used in this journal. And then this is another of my digitals, and then another depiction of our Turnip Head. And a little tuck pocket there, and another still from the book. Or the movie. Another pocket that I designed on a landscape, and another still from the movie of Sophie. Inking and dyeing, one of my digitals. That's Howl, that's made from another still from the movie. And then I use the library page here. So this boy is climbing up and he sees this spot of light, and then we have Calcifer. He's kind of tumbling down the ladder, holding onto a piece of wood. And then this is from a children's book page. It says, and he wondered how long it would take to fill a city with flowers. And that is a piece of stationery that just pops in here. And then over here we have a pullout of this girl in the library. And then just some fun dyed papers. Inking, one of my digitals, cabbage dyed paper. Another children's book page from the Tower book. And then this pocket here on this book page with another little book page journal card. Some of my dyed paper, my inked paper with another domestic object, that bottle, and another of my digitals. And then a little cutout of the castle flying on this blue sky book page. More of my fan art of Howl. This is one of my digitals. I designed that pocket, dyed this paper. This is a journal card that I designed for the book. Another depiction of the Queen when she really gets angry. And then this is another depiction of Turnip Head, and in here is a journal card that I designed for this book, and it tucks in here, and then we have a fold out. And then some green dyed paper. And then this was cut from a still from the movie of Sophie adjusting her hat in the mirror, and another movie still of Howl. And this is a book fly page with these little cogs on it. More of my Howl fan art. and some dyed paper, inked paper. We have Calcifer here, one of my digitals, and I've added Turnip Head there. He's one of my favorite characters in the movie. Him and the Witch of the Waste, I think, are like my favorite characters. And then this is a digital that I designed for this book, and it's a little journal card, and it's kind of like a real life depiction of like Calcifer in a bottle in front of a castle. And then we have the castle here that I cut from the Japanese illustration book. And it's on inked paper. It's one of my digitals. It's a depiction of Sophie just looking out the window. And there is Howl and Sophie. And then clipped on to this, this is a blue dyed page, and a rusty paper clip holding on to this journal card that I designed. This is one of my digitals. Inking and dyeing, and this is a pocket that's kind of a freeform style. So we have Sophie here, we have this flying tram, and the little boy whose name I still forget, oh geez. And then Sophie here working on her hats in her hat shop. That is a still from the movie. And then this little coloring book page pocket of these houses, and this is a digital that I designed. Sorry, it's upside down. I looked at the time and I wasn't looking for a minute there. And then one of my dyed pages, another depiction of Turnip Head. And this is one of my digitals, and this is from a children's book, and it just has a castle on both sides, but it's great for journaling on. And that tucks in there. And then we have a little hidden pocket here of one of my digitals, and it just pulls out and it goes right in here, just tucks back on in. There we go. And then a children's book page of some fantastical kind of creatures that may exist in this world, and more of my dyed and inked pages, another of my digitals, more of that castle, and I put a piece of that beautiful paper, that beautiful handmade paper, on my dyed cabbage dyed paper for writing on. And then we have a book still here, or a movie still, of this ghost following Howl and Sophie. And then this city scene is from a children's book. I felt like they really went well together. And then added a piece of cabbage dyed paper and this this still from the movie of sort of all the characters here. And those are, that's a journal card. And then the last page is just this fun city scene. And then we have the always fabulous Witch of the Waste here. And she is a journal card that just tucks on into this canvas pocket at the back that is more of the ship there. It's this lovely sealed canvas. So that was a lot of talking, and if you are still here, I appreciate you. And if you're seeing this video, that means that this journal is up in my Etsy shop. This is a big journal. It is a tome. So yeah, I think it will really make someone happy if they're a big fan of Ghibli and if they're a fan of Howl's Moving Castle like I am. I honestly have a hard time letting this one go. My daughter also was like, Mom, that journal. So I said I'd make her a little one because this is a little big for her. So yeah, if you liked this book, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you like Studio Ghibli. What's your favorite movie? I would love to hear from you. So have a great day, and thanks for joining me. Bye for now.